so context, right? Like, still talk to this guy. He's doing well now. Like,
Okay.
like it has like a happy ending.
The hard knocks of real estate.
Somewhat of a fall from grace. Classic, like we're having an open house this first weekend, like get out of the house.
Oh God.
Who do I show up with right at the open house? He's there in his like sweatpants. I was like, you gotta go. Get out of here.
You gotta leave right now.
Ran his truck through the garage door, like being drunk. I got a phone call like a couple days later from somebody that knew him asking if I had been paid. And I was like, yeah, of course. Yeah, closed. It's all good. He's like, good, because apparently he got robbed by a bunch of Russian gangsters from the casino that he had been frequenting.
Hi, everybody. Welcome back to Behind the Lockbox. I'm Stephanie Zalowski, and today I have Dave Lass with us. What's up, Dave?
What's up, everybody?
Dave is an agent with Real Broker up in Lake Tahoe. Dave and I met actually when I joined Real Broker back in January. We are kind of within the same group, and it's an amazing group of agents. So anyone out there who is at Real, if you want any more information, hit us up because, we kind of think we're the shit. I've already actually referred Dave a client, and he helped me hugely with a client of mine up in Tahoe that was actually in a pickle. So we very quickly, I don't know, we just became super fast friends, and I love it. Dave is absolutely crushing it in Lake Tahoe. We had a conversation last week when I asked him to come on the podcast, and I think he had 27 listings come on. So anyway, Dave, I know you have some stories. So welcome to Behind the Lockbox.
Steffi, thank you. Great, great to be on. I think this might be my first podcast, so if it's a little clunky,
I'm so honored. And I literally called you a week ago and I was like, yo, can you come on the podcast? I need one more person. He's like, yeah, sure. Why not? So thank you for being so open to it.
Popping the podcast cherry. So.
I love it. And he was trying to flare his mullet out for me so everybody could see it, Yeah.
Nice.
It's growing. It's growing.
It's going to impact business pretty quick. I'm pretty sure. It hasn't yet, but I feel like another inch of growth, people are going to say, not for me.
They're going to be like, I'm going to need you to cut your hair. And you'll be like, all right, you should let a client, if a client hates it so much and you like the client, you should let them cut it. That would be good for social. I'm just out there.
That's boundaries.
Just putting it out there. Anyway. Okay. I was like, Dave, how many stories do you have? You have at least 2, right? And he's like, yeah. And then he's like, how unhinged can I be? And I was like, the most unhinged. So anyway, hit me with your first one. Start us off with a banger.
Yeah. So I do a lot of for sale by owners. So, pretty early in my real estate career, you don't have a ton of clients. You don't have a lot of, your sphere is kind of in the process of still trusting you. So you have to get paid, right? And so for sale by owners was a part of my portfolio that I went after. And I think, not to telegraph this, but you don't know these people, you don't know their backstory. You're kind of getting into a relationship, blind. And so some of those, most have gone really well. They've actually become some of my best clients.
That's amazing.
You'd be so surprised. Agents that, follow this podcast. Yeah, those are diamonds in the rough, but they're not all good, right? So, but many of these people have multiple properties. They may have, been soiled on a relationship from their past real estate agents. So they say, I want to do this on their own. Some are really sophisticated, smart people. And just, by ego, maybe they think they can do it on their own. But
yeah, there's definitely some of that happening. They don't want to pay a commission or whatever the case may be. Yeah,
exactly. Right. And so, so I'll start with it for sale by owner, and then I'll end with, maybe one that, wasn't so good. But so this one is up in North Valleys in Reno. If people know that, that's, kind of thought of maybe a little bit less desirable place to live. It's affordable, but people, have been pushed out of other parts of the city and are now, up in the North Valleys. But this was a for sale by owner that was even out of the area. Okay. And it was a for sale by daughter, if that makes sense. So it was a couple lines of even title that was confusing to me, right? But her mom had just passed, and she was just putting her dad in, extended care, right? So really tough time for her.
And she wanted to take on a for sale by owner.
Some people just, they can't get out of their own way sometimes.
That's crazy.
And so I felt, actually kind of without sounding too douchey, like kind of like her savior coming in and being like, "Look, let me take this on for you.
Sure.
I'll give you, a slight discount on the commission. You're not 3%ing for sale by owners. You're not, 1%ing them. You're maybe 2% commission."
Yeah.
And it ended up being like looking at, I think I can get this done. But first like glimpse of the house. She sent me a picture of it for one, right? And looked fine, right? Looked fine.
Okay.
I did a drive by and it looked like the movie Fern Gully in real person, right? So like so much deferred main. I mean, it looked like trees that I hadn't even seen in Reno grow before because you'd never seen them.
They're like growing out the side of the house. You're like,
They were actually growing outside of the house. So there were vines that were growing
just
on at least two sides of the house and had actually gone into the house because no one had done anything. So,
there's holes in the roof. A tree is sticking out the roof. You're like, great.
yeah.
When she
Yeah.
sent
And
you
so
the photo, what was she sending you? Like the inside or an old
I
photo of
think
the
she
outside
sent
from
me
like
like an
20 years ago?
old, like a Google, like they drive by and take like a snapshot.
Yeah, that was like 7 years old or something. Sure.
Exactly,
Okay.
exactly.
Okay.
And so, anyways, long story short, I was a like super young agent, overzealous, and just said, sure, like I'll take this on. Like I need some money, right? And also saw her as like, I need to help this woman. She's in like a
Sure.
pickle, whatever.
Yeah.
Thinking in my head, like the inspection report on this thing has got to be like so ridiculous and it's gonna kill the deal just based on the inspection report. But let's just give it a shot. Let's be optimistic, right? And
When you're young, you're so full of optimism, in this business, you're like, it's okay, I got this. Like,
so
it's
dumb.
fine.
Yeah. Well, you don't
So
know.
dumb.
You don't know what you don't know. So you don't know that
Yeah.
you don't have to do that.
Correct.
But also by like eating what you kill, like you don't really have much in the fridge at that point. And so
Yeah.
you say, sure, I'll take it on. And so that's actually one thing I like about my real estate career is I've taken on a whole diverse kind of set of different clients. And look, if you have like thick enough skin and enough durability, like you'll get through that stuff. You'll look back, they'll do a podcast, we'll talk about it, and it'll all be all good. In the moment, you're just getting like
Well,
just annihilated and beat up,
and don't you tell every agent, any agents that come to us that are newer, like we've talked about this on the podcast before. You need to take every deal in the beginning. Like
Yeah.
I just talked about this a couple weeks ago with somebody. Like you have to take every deal because not only are you're learning in the very beginning. Like those deals will teach you life lessons that like the real estate exam is not going to teach you. Like no one asks you ever how many square feet are in a freaking acre, right? Like it's on the job training. And now we're at the point where we had our property manager down here in San Diego, Chloe Brown, on recently. And sorry, something really distraction was happening outside and Gwen's barking. And I'm like, is that feedback from the audio? Anyway, sorry guys, I digress. So we had her on and she was like, I'm now able to basically say no to certain things, right? Like we're able to say no to, this isn't a fit for me, or I don't need to take this deal necessarily. You know
Right.
what I'm saying? But you can't do that in the beginning. And I think
Yeah.
that FSBOs and expired listings and all that stuff, it is such a good learning lesson in the beginning. Painful, but a good learning lesson for sure.
Painful. Right. Yeah. You just don't know what you don't know. And your sniffer quite isn't, primed to kind of like see some of these things that might go in a certain direction.
For
The
sure.
might be unfavorable, just not worth it. But essentially what happened is this house, the inside was as busy as the outside. So like I'm telling you, like there had been like collection. I mean, you're talking like, Time magazine articles from like the 1800s, right? I mean, it was
Wow.
like a time capsule inside this place.
Also,
And
kind of like a gold mine. You're like, some of this shit's like cool and antique-y. Like, can I keep this? Like,
I actually, is this bad? I took like, well, I asked, but there was this brand new pair of like Doc Martens that were actually size that had never been.
you're like, hey, these do
I was
not
like,
have
"Can I have
vines
those?"
growing through them. Can I have these? She's like, yeah, take whatever you want.
Yeah, take whatever you want. Just take whatever. Yeah. So we ended up doing, so look, I mean, I get outside. I'm like, okay, I've got to figure out the outside. I got to figure out the inside. By the way, she doesn't have really much of any money budget to work with. Like, she's not very liquid to do it. So I had to like call on all my favors. I had to do a lot of the work myself. Literally, I'm trimming trees and doing dump runs. I
Wow.
probably did like 15 dump runs on this house.
Oh my
And we also
God.
set up an estate sale. And then once we got everything out of the house, then we had to do some consignment. So once we got everything out of the house, I realized again what state the property was in. The carpets were garbage. It had to be repainted.
Yep.
All of the above. Again, no money. What do you think? I did. I literally took this on. It felt like a hobby at some point. So agents still obviously don't do this. People are going to watch this and be like, "This guy's a jackass." Like,
Yes,
obviously,
but
like,
in
I
the
get
very
it. But
beginning, though, I think a lot of people do this.
yeah,
They
right?
do.
Yeah.
They're like, they just, and then you get in so deep, you're like, I'm gonna see this one through. So
I'm
no,
gonna see
you're
this
not,
one through.
you
And
wouldn't
so
do it now, but
I
yeah.
valued the property probably. So I actually had a client roll through, and he's like, "I'll pay like
Oh
375,
my God. I was gonna ask you what the list price was. I was like, is this a big estate like in Tahoe that's run down, or are we talking
No,
like at the
no,
time
no.
200,000? Like,
This is the. I mean, we like that's for another podcast. This is for like the clunky just cringeworthy stories, right? So no, so 375, and I'm like, well, it's not that. I know it's not that, but like and so I trying to sell it for probably 450, but I'm like, if it's 450, like I need to do this checklist of things to get it up, and like
yeah,
this is like literally determining her dad's care, like basically it's going to fund that.
sure, sure.
And then the
Did they owe
inheritance.
anything on the property?
At that point, no, yes, they did. They had a second mortgage taken on it. So they had to
Oh,
take so they had to
dang.
pay up another probably 200K of the second, and then yeah, like set him up for care, right? And so I felt
Yeah.
obligated at this
Yeah.
point to like, I gotta like bang this one out of the park, or else like she literally doesn't have enough money to do any of this stuff. So the I guess the bleeding heart in me somewhere.
Yeah.
It's deep in there. It's not here, but it's deep in there.
I mean, the longer time goes on, we like don't believe that much anymore. We're a little too jaded, but yeah,
Seriously,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
Oh my
yeah,
gosh.
yeah,
But I was like, oh, can we swear on this or no? We can't swear.
yeah.
Okay. I was painting the inside of this thing like hours before pictures come over, right? Like we're in this
Dave.
room, have to like delay the pictures and delay the pictures and delay the pictures because like you think you're ready because you're optimistic, but you're
And then
definitely
you're
not ready.
not. Yeah.
I broke down this entire gazebo in the back with my sawzall, just demoing this entire thing to provide like natural light to the place, and the thing looked like it was like condemned. But once you ripped
Yeah.
it off, you're like, all right, this is starting to look like maybe a
We're
four hundred
getting
fifty
somewhere
thousand
here,
dollar house.
people. Yeah, yeah.
Long story short, oh, and by the way, the garage, which people love in Reno, the garage had been converted to I don't even know, like a craft room, but really
Oh,
it
so it
wasn't
wasn't even a
anything.
usable garage at the moment.
It wasn't usable garage. It wasn't usable anything. Like it wasn't like I don't know what they did. Like it just yes, this is. I mean, it was like kind of like the fun house of all fun houses. Finally get it listed, and priced it right. The market was right. All things arced in the right direction. Got in contract within a day. I think it was
Amazing.
like 25. It was multiple offers, 25K over asking. It was one of the strategies where you're like, okay, let's not be crazy here. Let's actually list it like maybe 10K, 5K below what these houses
Right.
are going, and we
Right.
ended up selling it. Yeah, for a little bit over what we wanted. I mean, I think we sold it for 465 or something like that. So
That's amazing.
I know, and I had to go back at the end. Remember all the tree trimming that I did, and
Yeah.
like had still had to do like 2 more dump runs of all this shit that was still in the yard that I told the other agent that I would take care of. So it was like it felt good. I was like a man. I was like beat up over this deal, but I felt like
Yeah,
I was a
you were
man
like,
of
I'm
my
a man
word.
of my word.
I saw it through. I saw it
You
through.
saw it through. And that's
Yeah.
like, again, you would never take something on like that now at that price, at that commission to do all those things. We have people to do all these things for us now. But like,
Right.
again, it's a learning lesson. In the very beginning of our careers, like this is the kind of stuff that happens and comes up. You know what I mean? Like it
Yeah.
just,
Like
you
when's the last
learn.
time you did a deal like that? Like what, 20
I
years ago?
mean, I gotta tell you, I've never done a deal like that. Uh, she is not hauling things to the dump. She is not trimming trees.
Yeah.
No, I have prepped.
Brains over brawn always wins.
Exactly. I have prepped properties majorly. I've overseen massive renovations, like things like that, right? But it was
Yeah.
$5 million listing and I was getting a full commission and we double ended it. And like, you know what I'm saying? Like it was very
Love it.
different.
Love that.
But it was a year and a half in the making. I've talked about this episode or this property on the podcast before that we had a year and a half before we were able to get the tenants out because it's like they quit paying during COVID and they were just terrible. A 5 million, like they were paying like 10 grand a month and like they couldn't afford it. And I'm like, give me a freaking break. They were one of those people. And
Sure.
I was staking this property out. I was like, they're here now, like calling the process server because it was right across the street from where I live. And I was just like, it was insane. Like it was 2 years of working with this client. Like it was exhausting for sure. But it was, again, I wasn't doing any of the physical stuff. You know what I mean? But
Right.
you learn through sticking it through with the client, not giving up on it, and this was a lead. She came to us through our marketing. And so it wasn't a FSBO by any means, but like still, like there was a lot there that had to be done. So
It's tough, right? I mean, I've got an owner builder right now that, is referral. The connection was made through one of my clients almost
oh,
a year and a
great.
half ago. And it looked like
Amazing.
that house was going to be done within 3 weeks. Like after I first met, this is a year and a half ago. It's still not done. And it's a
Why?
beautiful house. It's a $2 million house in Reno. And uh, quite honestly, I mean, nobody knows these people. It's like, it's a this guy from Poland and this guy from in the trades here, and they kind of have combined to like
Ish.
put some money and scrap it together, and piece by piece they're building this house, and they stall out when the money runs out, and they get a little bit more money and they do a little bit more, but the house is going to be like absolutely sick when it's done. But it's one of those things, like
Wow.
I still don't even know if I'm actually going to be the listing agent on it. I mean, a year and a half, you
Yeah.
stop by on this property probably 30, 40 times,
Yeah.
have, multiple meetings, multiple conversations, and there's no guarantee. Somebody might look at this and say, have them sign an agreement, but like kind of they're not even done with their fucking product yet. You know what I mean? So it's
Yeah.
hard to approach them on that.
Well, and with that, I mean, look, yes, you could have them sign a listing, but I don't know about you guys up there, but like even when something is signed listing wise down here, the client can still change their mind and say,
At any
look,
point.
I've had all these agents reach out to me. They're going to do it for 2%. You're asking for 3 on the list side, which is what I demand.
Yeah.
And I demand that because of everything you get that comes with me, right? And so, and I know you're the same. And so it's like, yeah, you can do that, which actually this happened on the property I was just telling you about. She actually tried. We had a listing agreement for over a year and it was a 2-year thing, like, because we knew it was going to be a while. She was fine signing it. And then a friend, her financial advisor, grew up with an agent here in La Jolla who does a lot of business. But my partner and I also had a shitload of market share. Like, I was on a very high performing team and, like,
Mhm.
we were one of the top ones. And she was like, well, he came to walk the property and he would sell it and he'll do it for 1.5 or 2%, which I was shocked by that this agent who I know was going to do that. But here was the thing. He wasn't going to do it. He was going to throw a lockbox on it, never show it, never sell it. And by the way, that place needed so much cleanup if we were going to get 5 million for it. You know what I mean? And so, I thought about it and then I went back to her and I was like, no, you're not hiring him. You're sticking with me. You have a signed agreement. I've done a year and a half of this. If you don't want to work with some of my partners, you have me. That's fine. But like, we're seeing this through. And she
Right.
actually was like, okay. And I was
Dug in
like,
your heels.
yeah, I
Yeah.
dug in my
Because
heels.
you could have looked at the other agent and said, you're not going to get your objective by going that route.
That's exactly what I said to her. I
Like you're
said,
not.
that's fine, but you're going to get maybe 2.5, 3 when you could get 5 when we
Right.
do all these So, I mean, we had to like refinish all the hardwood floors, paint the inside and outside, redo stucco, rip out landscaping. I mean, the list went on and it took
Right.
us, but I got all that done in 90 days. Like I had my guys there every single day and like, but it just showed like you got to be tenacious sometimes and really show and prove. And I had proven my worth with her. And, at first I was like, look, I want you to work with who you want. And then I was like, no, you're working with me.
Yeah.
But there are some times
That's
where
good.
they're dug in and they're like, no, we're moving on to somebody else, and there's nothing you can do. And so to
Yeah.
again to your point, it's this business is relationship based, right? You're showing up, you're having the conversations, you're proving your worth, you're sticking in there. I have no doubt they'll hire you. But again, it wouldn't really matter if you had that signed contract because
It doesn't
we
matter. Yeah.
a contract, look, are they legally bound? And if we didn't let them out, yeah, they'd have to stick with us. But what is that going to do to the relationship?
Yeah.
Not make it good. Like,
Right.
why would you want to hold somebody to that? Like, it has happened very rarely, but on some of our high end stuff, people pull out, they decide not to list anymore. So then they cancel the listing. You know what I mean? It does happen. And so you
Sure.
just have to kind of let those ones go when it does.
Yep. Yep. But
So
control what you can control and don't worry about the rest, kind of.
that's all you can do. So
Yeah.
anyway,
So I've got another. This one might be cut, so let's not worry about it. But I've got another one just in case. Um,
go
this
ahead.
one,
I
I mean,
doubt it will.
so context, right? Like, still talk to this guy. He's doing well now. Like,
Okay.
like it has like a happy ending, right? But like,
Okay.
holy shit, did it not start out well, right? So this was early on in my career as well, and um,
The hard knocks of real estate.
somewhat of a fall from grace, right? Have looked
Oh,
up at the lake, had, you know, gotten a divorce, had, you know, needed to downsize, you know, had this sick house at the lake, and basically they found himself in Reno, Northwest Reno, which is a great place. Call, you know, this place I've been calling, but yeah, like had just been out of rehab essentially, so you know, alcohol
Mhm.
issues, right?
Sure.
And people can relate to that, I'm sure, you know, across the
Oh, yeah.
board. But he needed to sell the step down
Mhm.
house, right? So it was up here, and now can no longer do this one.
Yeah.
And so I stepped in, and you know, but you know, was obligated to sell it. You know, not obligated, but you know, was there to sell it for him.
Right, right.
And you know, he had actually bought it with another agent. You know, this is a weird business like that. He had, you know, told me that he had interviewed her, and, you know, interviewed me as well. And she said she was going to sell it for 650. And I honestly just seen the house. I was like, this with the view and everything like that. Like, this is everything. Like, I think you can get like probably 715, maybe even 720 out of this. Like,
Oh,
I think you could
amazing.
list it, you know, maybe high sixes and see where it goes. And through my
Sure.
due diligence, right? I had called around. There were a couple analogous listings recently on market that had gone under contract. Called those listing agents and was like, "What's your price?" And then
Yep.
how much, how many other buyers were there? Did you
Yeah.
have offers? You know, what's the other interest? Like,
Brilliant.
it snipped it out. You know, like
Yep.
there is interest. Let's go aggressive on this.
Right.
Um, all this, you're like, man, this story seems fucking awesome, right? So
I know, I'm
he
waiting for the shoe to drop.
he like pretty quickly fell off the wagon again, but
Oh,
like was like hiding it,
no.
right? Also, I should explain, like, he was like a total Luddite, like no technology, no nothing. So like
Mm,
everything, the agreement, the
it's a wet
disclosures,
sign.
everything, I had to literally go over there and deliver it to his house.
Gosh.
And most of the time, you know, you don't get it's like this showed his, like, you know, mental capacity. This probably almost like, hopefully doesn't shoot me in the foot, because almost thinks about, you could think about contractual, you know, void, non-void, whatever. But
Well
like, I didn't know how drunk he was at the time, but essentially,
well,
you
if
know,
you
you
don't
call
know, I don't
him,
there's no way you can control that if you're not aware. People
correct.
function on alcohol, you know what I
You seem
mean?
to function
So
pretty good. Yeah, exactly.
yeah.
But
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, you call them, and you know, basically you show up 70 minutes later to, you know, provide the contract. He wouldn't even remember of talking to you on the phone, type stuff.
You're
And
like, "Wait, what's happening? I was just there."
yeah, classic. Like, we're having an open house this first weekend, like the house.
Oh god.
Who do I show up with right at the open house? He's there in his like sweatpants. I was like, you gotta go. Get out of here. You know
You
what I
gotta
mean?
leave
So
right now. Behind the Lockbox is sponsored by Property Showcase Group. Property Showcase Group has a team of creatives, directors, producers, editors, marketing specialists, and designers that work in tandem to tell and share stories of the built environment. Whether you're looking for full-service production or simply just need content creation, Property Showcase Group can help take your business to the next level. To learn more or to contact Property Showcase Group to schedule a consultation, you can find them at propertyshowcasegroup.com. That's spelled PROPERTYSHOWCASEGROUP.com. PropertyShowcaseGroup.com. I'm back to talk about our sponsor and producer, Property Showcase Group. This is for all my agent and affiliate friends out there. Property Showcase Group has a special offer for you. The first 3 agents to email Property Showcase Group at teampsg@propertyshowcasegroup.com will get 1 month free of social media management using code LOCKBOX. That's right, 1 month free. And they're offering 20% off your first video production using code LOCKBOX. For more information, contact Property Showcase Group at teampsg@propertyshowcasegroup.com, and don't forget to use code LOCKBOX or mention this podcast.
you got to go, right? So like, I feel it was like the cringe of like all these, you know, classic like real estate memes, you know, kind of combined into one. But I mean, you're invested in these people, you're invested in the deal, like, and then that will manifest itself in kind of how you react to certain things, right?
For
And I think
sure.
it can be
For sure.
really good agents can do it in a really effective way
Yeah.
that isn't super dramatic. This was like between me and a person, and it was like
Right.
pretty dramatic on my part, being like, you need to get your shit together. You're going to lose more. You're going to lose your life. And, you know,
But
he
you
was,
cared. You know what I mean? Like, you were invested in him and you
yeah,
cared, and sometimes it takes someone in their life to actually say those things. Like, look,
exactly.
I've got it in my family, and it's a tough disease. You know what I mean? Like people get upset with alcoholics, and they're like, why can't they just, like, you can't, like, it's a
You just
disease, and
can't.
I've seen it firsthand. And so, you know, I think that it does help that somebody like you comes in, because you've done all this work too. You know what I mean? And sometimes we just lose our minds and get fed up and just like, what are you doing? You know what I mean? Because like, again, we've talked about this many times before. We're not paid till the deal closes. And so
Right.
we're putting in all this time and money, photos, marketing, driving to his house. I don't even know how far that is from you, but it sounds far.
It's far
To
enough.
have Yeah, to have him wet sign all this paper because he's not doing, and then to have somebody just almost throw it all away. And also, you're worried about him and what he's going to do to his life, and he's already kind of
Correct.
had these falls from grace, and now you know him and you're invested. And so, look, some might say that's overstepping. Depending on the relationship, I don't think so. You care and you're trying to save him.
That's exactly right. Yeah. I mean, people can look at it as like, oh, you're just trying to like save your paycheck. But at some point, look, everyone's human, and, you're
I
trying to do a
agree.
lifeline to this person in their
Agreed.
kind of, darkest need. So
Yep.
I wish I would have loved to say it worked, Stephanie, but it did not. So
It
like
does.
3 days
It usually
later,
doesn't.
3 days, like, so we're about to close, and we do. I hadn't been over there for like a couple days, and the buyer's agent. So by the way, like, get a full price offer,
Well,
multiple offers that first weekend, and I
you were
got
right with your
that
pricing.
one again
Yeah.
to go. We go 7:30 on it. We go like
Wow.
7:30. So $80,000 more than what the other agent was
And to make
saying.
him that much money when he needed it, you know what I'm
What
saying? Like,
felt really good, right?
huge.
So here's where he spent it. Now I'm showing you. So he like they do the final walkthrough, and she calls me and she's like, we kind of have an issue with the garage door. I'm like, garage door, huh? So I head over there. He had ran his truck through the garage door, like being drunk, right? Just like just destroyed the thing, right?
Like,
So
did he
like
try to drive through it or back up into it?
he tried to back. Yeah, he tried to back. Yeah, he tried to back
And
out.
it was
That's what he did.
closed.
Yeah, exactly. Have you? Yeah,
You're like,
maybe
did
you've
you
seen
not
that
see it
before.
was dark in the garage?
His whole
It's
mind is
not
like
funny,
too
but
dark
it's
at that
like,
point.
yeah,
Yeah,
it's funny because he's okay and we can laugh about it now, but like,
he's fine.
oh man.
He's fine. But so had to. I think in this, like, the thought would be just extend, close of escrow, whatever, yada yada yada. I
Right.
could see where this was like headed, and
Mhm.
then at that point, I'll be quite honest. I was like, I've done so much here. I need to close this deal,
Right.
and we need
We're
to.
done. Yeah.
Yeah, and so I got somebody out there the next day, fixed the garage door. They took a credit, like all good, right? Close it.
Yeah.
It's just a complete disaster. God, I got a phone call like a couple days later from somebody that knew him, asking if I had been paid, and I was like, yeah, of course, yeah, yeah, closed. It's all good. He's like, good, because apparently he got robbed by a bunch of Russian gangsters from the casino that he had been frequenting. Apparently, he had been like
She owed them money.
groomed. No, he'd been groomed by like a young woman, and then as he was passed out at his house at one of these points, they went over and stole all of his bank records and yada yada yada. So I mean,
Oh
one of the saddest story,
man.
and the good thing about that, just good thing, there
Wow.
wasn't that much money available because we had already bought another property,
For
downsized it
him,
into a condo that he
for him to
put
live in.
the majority of his money into, right?
Okay. So
So
it was like in
otherwise,
escrow. It wasn't in his account.
no. Otherwise,
They
he would have
got
been
his
like
banking
cleared out of
information.
like.
They didn't even just like rob him physically. Like, they got a hold of his banking.
They got a hold of his banking information and transferred it all. I mean, it's above my pay grade, but it was came
Wow.
from a source within the family, and was this thing. So, look,
Oh,
alcohol is no joke. Personally,
no.
I haven't drank in 4 years, and
Oh,
it was one
wow.
since
Good for
I
you.
had young kids. No pivotal moment associated with it, but just kind of like,
Sure.
you see enough people going down this path, and it's like, holy shit.
Yeah.
Me, I'm just like, I can't function at the top level that I want to function when I'm
Right.
hungover, and hangovers
Same.
just like got progressively worse and worse as I got older. But
Oh my
you
God,
do
it's
see
terrible.
things like this story, and just kind of, it really, yeah. I mean, people don't think of a real estate agent as like a therapist slash security guard slash, courier slash, notary
Landscaper.
slash,
Dump hauler.
yeah, all the above. So
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, one of my friends on his bio has unlicensed therapist, real estate
Yep.
developer, you know what I
I
mean?
like
Because
that.
like we literally are.
Yep.
And, happy to be, right? But again, there comes a point in some transactions where you're just like I can't do this anymore. You know what I mean? Or you do kind of yell at the client or freak out because you're just like, I'm just as invested in this as you, not because I need the commission at the end, but because I've put in time and money. I mean, when all the NAR stuff came out, we've talked about this on this show tons of times. Like, remember when they were toying around with like, oh, should we should real estate agents like bill hourly? And I was like, go ahead.
Do you would go ahead?
Bring it on. We will be sitting in my oceanfront mansion in no time for
We
every
make
text
so
I
much more money.
send.
It'd be crazy.
I honestly was like, come on, let's do it. Like, I'm fine with it but no one will be able to buy a house. You know what I mean? For
Nobody.
every text we send, every email we send, every phone call, like when I
Yeah.
call my attorney, are you kidding me? Like, it's like, I'll text him and I'm like, don't bill me for this. I have a
You
question.
have
You
to
know what I
be
mean?
explicit. You have to like literally say that every time, right?
Yes.
Like,
And
don't
I'm
bill me.
like, don't bill me for this. And he's like, "Ugh,
Yeah.
just call me. And I'm like, are you billing me? You better not be recording this. Like, I get so mad at
Right.
him. And, but it's like, it's so true. Like, every time, like that $5 million property, I mean, I was talking to my attorney every other freaking day and we would like text and stuff. And he never did because he was, billing the client and stuff. But I was
Right.
like, man, if I could bill like an attorney, bring it, you
Bring
know?
it. Exactly.
We'd
Bring
be
it.
very wealthy. We'd
We
all be
would be
buying
very
those
wealthy.
big houses. I'd have a house in Tahoe. I'd come see you
Yeah.
all the time.
I
I'd
would
have a
tell
house
you.
here in La
Yeah.
Jolla. It'd be great.
Yeah.
I
But
know.
we're doing good. It's a great. I mean,
Yes.
it's a fantastic profession.
Yeah.
Look, it's not for the faint of heart.
No.
Not all real estate agents are psychopaths. We have a heart. We
Yeah.
care, but it's not for everybody. I
No.
mean, you can't be sensitive or
No.
hypersensitive. You're gonna get beat up just over. At the end of the day, this is like you're on somebody else's journey, right? Like you're
Yeah.
helping guide them with good
Yeah.
information. They don't always use it, right?
Right.
It's like kind of incumbent on them to do what's in their best interest at the end of the day. And some people can't see that, and
Right.
nor will they ever see it, right?
Right. Right.
So you're hitched to them for a little bit, and
But I think in
yeah,
our career at this point in like years and how long have you been doing this now?
just three,
That's
two and a half,
it?
yeah, 2.5 years.
Oh my God. I thought we were talking like 15 years. Holy shit.
No, but
Okay.
we're doing. I mean, I'm doing like 30 deals a year. Like that's like it's decent. I mean, it's not terrible, but it's not like huge.
No,
It's
it's
not, yeah,
amazing.
yeah,
Well, it's like, again, like we're in different markets, but it's like me, you've got high end with like the Tahoe stuff, right? And then you've got Reno and like some of the middle class
yep,
and like whatever. And San Diego is the same, right? Like I live here in La Jolla, but I work across San Diego County. So like, in one year, I think in 2019 or 2020, I did like my $7 million waterfront and then I did a $200,000 studio for a client. You know what I'm saying? Like it
do it.
literally runs the gamut, right?
Yeah, love it.
And so it's just interesting. Like this is not a profession for everyone. And everyone thinks that like it's easy and you can, make your own schedule and stuff. Like you said, you gotta have thick skin and you gotta be okay with a lot of no's before there are yeses. But like
Right.
I think at the point, even though it's only been 3 years, like I think you're at the point too where you did so much of the hard stuff at the very beginning, which a lot of agents just kind of it trickles in, right? Like they're not doing the FSBOs, they're not doing some of those other things. And you're getting to the point now, just with all these listings you have coming on, like I'm sure you're still saying yes to almost everything, but we get to a point where we can say no and we need to. And not every buyer is going to be a fit. Like anytime I have a new buyer consult or even a listing presentation, the first thing out of my mouth is let's meet in person. I'll give you, XYZ. Let's see if we're the right fit. And do you know how many people are like, oh, like they're almost like,
They're
wait,
like,
like,
hold on, I'm interviewing you. Yeah,
yeah. And I'm like, no, I'm interviewing you too. You
yeah,
know what I mean? Because we want to work with people who we are not your doormat. We are here to partner with you to get your house sold at the highest price we can to help you move on to whatever that next thing may be, whether it's trading up, trading down, moving out of the
right.
state, offloading assets. It doesn't matter what it is. One of my clients this morning sent me an email and he's like, you're so efficient. It's scary, but in a good way. And I was like, that's what I like to hear, like
It should be. Yeah,
it should be. And for those that aren't, it's just job security. You know what I mean? Like I have a friend who's in a deal with an agent right now and she is texting me play by plays daily and I cannot believe the atrocities. Like it's insane. So again,
again, yeah.
it
And
runs
I
the
think you're
gamut.
spot on. I think you're spot on. When you get to that point in your career, I think it's nice because that actually does. I'm speaking agent to agent here, not hopefully,
Yeah.
but it affords you the freedom and flexibility that I think people really do think of when
Yes.
they want to pursue this type of
But
career,
we have
right?
lives
Like
and families
always, you're eating
too.
what you kill. You're always eating what you kill.
Of course.
You're always worried about where the next deal is coming
Every
from.
time.
That never goes away. But I
It never
feel like
goes away.
in theory, your deals get healthier and healthier and healthier, maybe the
Correct.
farther you go in your career. So, I mean, I
100%.
just rejected, I, I mean, it's not, this is braggadocious. I've fired a client last
Yep. I
month
have too.
and that was a $3+ million listing. And I
Yeah.
was just like, I'm not I'm not your bellboy.
Well, let's
And
talk about why you did that though. You did it because here's the problem. That client will become, and again, this is agent to agent, but this is for everyone else too. Like
yeah,
in this translates into almost any industry. When someone is a time suck, time is our most valuable resource. With
exactly.
family, with friends, with business, it doesn't matter what it is. If they're sucking all your time, if your stomach hurts every time the phone rings, guys, it's not worth it. Like
Hmm.
you let go of one, three more will come in its place. But it takes
That's literally what happened too.
see,
It's
but it
crazy.
takes a long time to learn that, and it's
Same
scary
day.
to let that one go.
It was scary, but it
It
was same
is.
day, and it was the right choice because
I'm
people
so proud of
will
you.
not everybody's orbit is something you want to be in, right? And
Correct.
so just
Correct.
be super, super honest with yourself because
Yeah.
once you're in that orbit, you're distracted and you're not able to see and take on other opportunities, right? Because you're
Correct. And
sucked
we
into
will
this
pass
kind of
those up. Yeah, we need to talk about this
exactly.
on our mastermind. I think I'll talk to
Yeah.
Paige about that.
Right? Because I
Yeah,
turned in another one on just in our neighborhood. I would have had two listings on the same cul-de-sac, which I also don't think would have been that smart.
at the
But
same time, yeah.
one, yeah. At the same time, one was going to be basically I would have listed at like 1.3,
Did the
and the other
neighbors
one's
know each other?
1.5. They don't know each other, but
Okay.
one is remarkably better than the other one. Like
Right.
model home, fully furnished. You
Right.
see everything you see, you get. The other one,
And the 1.3 is
backyards.
going to be like, get me 1.6. And you're like, he
The
just
guy
listed
wanted
1.5.
1.6, and I'm like, this one is 1.5, even, and it's not a stretch. It's a fantastic house, but your backyard's not
Call
even
me when you come back
finished.
down to earth. Yeah.
And you have the carpet insert, which is like, I didn't even know anybody did that in the house. You're like, it's an option, but I don't think it's an option anybody takes, like, and so I'm like, there's no way you're going
They
to.
still had carpet in the bathroom around the toilet. You're like, what is happening? Yeah.
I was like, why? Yeah. And I wish them the
Ugh.
best, but it's one of those things that you don't, you could take that on and you can be part of that, but
Yeah.
it's going to end icky unless you are
Yes.
like a full on magician, almost master manipulator, which I'm not.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, what you want to do is you want to come in after that listing agreement expires and say, remember when we met, remember what we talked about. I still
Correct.
believe in this house. I still think I can get this for you. And
Right.
by the way, that is a 12%, APR over when you purchased it before,
100%.
4 years ago. So that's
Yep.
like, you should be celebrating that. That's
Yep.
great.
Yep.
You know,
Yeah. I mean, it just takes experience to know. And, I think that we as agents for a long time, there's been this stigma of like used car, salesy, greedy, and that is 95% not the case. Like, sure, is there 5% agents out there that are like that? I see stuff on social and I just want to die sometimes. I'm like, this is so cringy. I can't even handle it. But I
yeah.
digress. My
You're gonna
face
see
so
one later today. I'm gonna drop a video, a Tremors video, which is this off grid up in Red Rock here that we
yeah.
tried to do like homage to Tremors because it feels tremory out there. And I don't know if we like hit the mark totally, but
Send it to me. I'll tell you.
I'm gonna go with it anyways.
Send it to me. Yeah, I think that I think that there's such an art to that. And also same thing with double ending a deal, right? So like I was on the same team my entire career. I just left, as you know, in
Mhm.
late last year and, moved over to Real in January. And I'm now solo, but like I have friends that like we've talked about this, that they're like, hey, if you get something, a buyer that comes to you, like I'll represent the other person, but I'll take it, like you do all the work and I'll take a referral fee or whatever, because you need that separation of church and state. And like we did double endings on our team all the time, but we had multiple people on the team that we were
Yeah.
splitting it with anyway. So one would take one would take the other. And then you're really kind of, you're able to separate the interests a little bit. It's the
Yeah.
same thing when you're taking, look, if they came to you when one was in escrow and they're like, we want to sell, it's like, okay, I can sell the other one after this one closes. But like to do them at the same time it can be a conflict of interest. There's an art
100%.
form to it, and it depends on the client. Sometimes the client is like, do you, girl, like get after that money, represent both. I don't give a shit. I trust you. It's rare. Someone is always going to get
That's
pissed
rare. I
off.
feel like that's rare. Yeah.
It is
And
rare.
especially post August 17th, right? To
Yeah.
where you don't sign a listing agreement, at least I don't, for
You just put your thumbs
6%.
up.
What's
Yeah,
that?
no, you went like this and it was like
Oh,
on
what's
your
that?
iPad because you're on
Oh.
your iPad, it like did a little thumbs up. I was like, yeah, I agree. But yeah,
Yeah, I mean, you don't sign it for 6% anymore. You sign it for 3%, let's say. And
yeah,
so there's nothing, you can obviously, some people put in their agreements some sort of caveat that says if I'm doing the other side, here's an extra amount, blah blah. But I agree. It just seems like, as a sole agent, refer that person out. It's
yeah.
basically, and you can do a higher. I assume you do a higher referral fee on that because you basically have somebody who
Oh yeah.
wants to buy the house. Maybe you
Oh
do
yeah.
it 50-50 or 75-25 towards
Yes.
you or something like
First of
that.
all, my referral fees for any agents out there listening, Paige referred me a listing. And after we were talking about something one day, she said something and she was like, hey girl, like, what did she say? Is like 15% okay? I was like, bitch, I'm gonna give you 25. She's like, what? And I was like, yeah, like you gave me two listed. Like, what do you mean? You know what I mean? Like, so
Yeah.
it's 100%. You got to take, and also, I have a couple agents that have referred me multiple deals, and I've closed either with the same client, the clients that I referred you. So
Mhm.
I got them from a referral from an agent in Montauk, and I've now closed 3 deals with them. I give him a referral fee every single time. I know we're going off on a tangent here.
Wow.
I
Yeah.
take care of his ass because guess what? He continues to refer me, and I have a couple client agents up in LA. I've done a couple deals with one agent. Every time I'm about to list that property in Del Mar that I've talked about,
Yeah.
I'll be referring her. I'll give her a referral fee on that. I have her parents, like they have a big estate in Rancho Santa Fe that we're gonna sell. We're kind of waiting. We might put it back on. Give her a referral fee on that. Like you got to take care of the people that take care of you, and
Agreed.
that's
Agreed.
when you have, again, collaboration happens at the top, right? And
Yeah.
so I always make sure that we're doing those kinds of things. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, new agents out there. I was just talking to one this morning that I'm starting this kind of group here. It's not a team because for MLS rules and things like that, but essentially it's a
Sure.
network, right?
Yeah.
And I'm like,
Are they all
look,
real
like
agents?
they're all real agents. Yeah, I'm
Okay.
like, find people in these other markets that you can make the value proposition to, that
Yeah.
you need to be their person.
Mhm.
And then treat them like a client, like literally treat
It
them like a
happened with
client.
me and you. I mean, I
Yeah.
called you in a panic and you literally answered my phone while I knew you were doing other stuff. You
Yeah.
got me what I needed and like it saved the deal. By the way, it just closed on the 11th. And
It's
like,
awesome. I love it.
again, you're my guy in Tahoe. Like, I know a couple others around there, but like, no, I mean, we just
Yeah.
met and that's what I'm saying. Like, when it's
It's gotta add
genuine and
value.
you hit
You,
it
you always
off,
have to add value
100%.
at the end of
Yeah.
the day, right?
Yeah.
And don't be
So,
greedy, right? There's like the
beauty.
what can I do, and then what should I do? Those are two
Yeah.
different things, right? What people need to understand in life.
And
I
then,
teach,
and
try,
when you
try to teach my kids that.
Well, and when you see those commission checks come in, you know what I mean? Then it's kind of like there are agents that, again, inexperienced or whatever, that, they're like, oh, I need all this money. And it's like, look, they don't want to split things with their team lead. This has come up in the past or whatever. And it's like 50% of something is better than 50% of nothing. And so you just
Totally.
need to always keep that in mind. And I just firmly believe that, again, when you continue to take care of the people, whether it's your clients that refer you business or other agents, like, again, it comes tenfold.
Yep.
So,
Yep.
yeah. Okay.
Agreed. I love it.
We're running short on time. I know you have another story, but we're gonna save that one for last because we're gonna play a little game.
Yeah.
And this might incite some stories for you, but just go with it, okay? It's called Punch List. So I'm gonna hit you with 3 questions. Do you like that? It's cute.
I
Okay.
hate this. This is terrifying.
Don't be scared, I swear.
Yeah.
Okay. What is the craziest request a client has ever made?
Well, this was on closing, right? So, and this is a FSBO, right? So it's like,
Of course it was.
go yourself, agent. So we sign. This is like on signing day. Everything's all good. I get a phone call from the buyer's agent. I'm representing the seller, and he's like, so like, all the stuff's still here. I'm like, you gotta be kidding me. What do you mean all the stuff's still here? So this is like in a downtown condo, by the way, on like the 20th floor of this apartment building.
Oh
He's
no.
like, all the furniture's still in here. And I was like, you gotta be kidding me. Why did she like fully told me she took care of it? And so I called her and she's like, oh, I guess I skipped that. Can you just go take all that out? I was like, no, what are you doing? She's like, well, you won't get paid if you don't get it taken out. And I was like, I guess she has a point there. I mean, she does, right? Like, it would have, like, stalled out. So myself, I have a big Sprinter van. I swear to God, I schlepped
Dave.
beds and everything down 20 flights of stairs and elevators and some of it. But it was like, and then I dumped it at her house. And when I mean dump it, I like dumped it.
Open the Sprinter van door and just pushed it all out. You're like,
away and just let it just all go out. It was not. I was like so pissed. It was crazy. That was nuts, right?
God.
Yeah.
Like,
you could have just paid somebody $500 for a moving company to do it.
That's what I'm talking about, though. It's like you can't. We are not like I had my good friend Betty. We replayed this episode of like a few weeks ago. She walked in, took a listing. Everything was clean. It looked great. It was actually another condo downtown. Looked fantastic. Everything was good. And she walks in to show it the first day. Used condoms all around the bedroom. It looked like a party had happened the night before. Bottles everywhere. And I was like, she had to pick it all up because like you have a showing. What are you going to do? Like we're out here. Like we got to get this. And so she's like took tongs from the kitchen and is like, you know what I mean? I was like, I hope you didn't wash them. I hope you just put those back. 'Cause that's what I would have done. But like, I would have used his toothbrush. I would have been so pissed off. And she did. She called him and she read him the riot act. She was like, I am not your maid. I am not, because that's not, guys, that is not acceptable. You cannot do that to your agent. It's not okay. And he knew. He was like, oh, sorry. Like I forgot to clean up. And she was like, a bomb had went off though. It wasn't just like one bottle, dishes in the sink. That happens. And I'll just put stuff in the sink or throw it in the dishwasher, like not happy about it, but like I'll do it. But that's on another level. So yeah.
That is a pet peeve of mine is like.
Wait, don't say it because that's the next question. What's your biggest pet peeve?
My biggest pet peeve.
You're like, the list is long. Let me go through it.
Yeah, I mean, you see these memes, right? Like when somebody let's say we've got a counter out or something like that, and it's an obvious like, I'm gonna sign this thing, but yet like, when are they gonna fucking sign it? You know what I mean? Like, you send it out and they're like, oh, I'm gonna sign it right away, and like.
Hours later.
Or a day goes by, you know what I mean? You're like, where are you? Like, are you still sleeping? I think that's probably my biggest, like, gives me the most anxiety where it's like, look, that's pretty easy. Like, I'm on my phone, pops up, cool. I'm going to click this thing. Like, it's done. It's good. Like, and it's good that people have a better separation, the computer and the phone than I do, but like, they're probably healthier.
It's glued to my hand and I'm like, people are like, you respond so quickly. I'm like, cause it doesn't leave my hand. It's disgusting. I'm aware. I know.
It's bad.
I know.
The other part is though, when sellers, and I've got amazing ones right now, by the way, but, and I generally do, but like, we're listing their house and it might be one that like, is going to sell within maybe a week just based on the price point, the market,
for sure.
yada, yada. And you just give them let's just keep it as, tidy and orderly as possible. I just set it up for the pictures and everything like that. Let's try to keep it generally like, and they have no ability to live within bounds, if that makes sense. Like they just they cannot do it, and it's just like,
I know. And like, I'm such a clean freak. So like, I can't understand it. Like, I don't like clutter. I don't like mess.
No.
Anyway, okay. I know.
So,
all right.
Yeah.
Well, I also have pet peeves, but mostly it's centered around driving because I have a lot of road rage. But anyway,
you got to let that go. You can't do it.
Listen, if you're taking a really long time to back out of a parking space, I'm gonna honk at you. Oh yeah, she's that girl. I'm not joking.
Somebody needs to know. They need to know.
They need to know I'm in a hurry and you're wasting my time. You know what I mean? Okay.
No, it's tough. It is.
I'm really curious about this one. If you could be anything other than a real estate agent, what would you be and why? What did you do before this?
Like anything? So totally different career. I worked for a big national nonprofit that we restore big river systems for trout, salmon, and steelhead. So yeah,
That's
it was
so
like,
cool.
yeah. So, everything from Alaska, I ran a big portion of our California program.
Okay.
And so yeah, it was kind of cool. You could go in and be like,
That's
this
really
place
cool.
got demolished by whatever, and it doesn't function, has no water, no fish. You go in with big heavy machinery, recontour, basically create a new river, and there's fish and water, and
That's
a place to go fish.
Yeah.
So,
But yes, it could be anything. Money's not an option. Like these are pipe dreams. You know what I mean?
I mean, Playing a professional sport would be so badass if you think about it. I think if I could go back and do it, it'd be one or two things. It'd either be professional surfer, you get to
Okay.
travel the world
Yep.
and, basically, I would say live this clean, very
Yeah.
adventurous life.
Yeah.
Or as boring as it sounds, I think a pro golfer would be equally badass.
I mean, shit, you could be the new Rory McIlroy. Isn't he the one that got his green
He,
jacket?
yeah, he just won the Masters. Yeah, yesterday. I
Amazing.
mean,
Every
yeah.
time I see the green jacket, all I think of is Billy Madison. So,
You know what? I retracted. I would go back as Billy Madison if I could do it.
Specifically Billy Madison.
Happy Gilmore. Happy Gilmore is the golfer.
Happy Gilmore. Oh, sorry. That's what I meant. Happy Gilmore. Yeah. Billy Madison would be like the party one, but like Happy Gilmore, you'd be like green jacket, gold jacket. Who gives a shit?
Who gives a shit?
Who gives a shit? Somebody the other day, yeah. Oh, what
yeah. So what do you say to that question?
I said if I could be anything, I would want to be a country music singer. But I can't sing.
Yeah.
I just think
Are you gonna go stagecoach?
No, I'm not. But like I'm seeing family. So what isn't it? Well, Coachella was this weekend.
Yeah,
Is Coachella's again this weekend? So it's in 2 weeks, right?
I always thought it's the next weekend, is it not?
I thought Coachella went 2 weekends, or does Stagecoach go? I don't
You're
know.
right.
Anyway,
Yeah.
I don't know. I've actually not been to it. But I was born and raised in Arizona, and we had Country Thunder before any of these big music festivals were a thing. And it is the Stagecoach. I mean, it was huge, and I went every year all through my 20s. My cool ass dad, even we borrowed our friend of the family's motorhome, and my dad drove it out for us with us in the back, and we like pre-gamed. Not joking. In college, he parked it for us. Then my brother followed him out with his truck or something. Then they left, and like we would camp out there in the motorhome for like 4 days. It was
And just rage Billy Ray Cyrus and just.
I mean, all of the things. It was when Miranda Lambert was like first on the scene, and like Toby Keith was there one year, R.I.P. I mean, yeah, all the big ones. Like it was absolutely I mean, I had the best time in my 20s. Like I went to ASU, so like I partied.
Oh, you had the best.
I had the best time,
we don't talk about that.
I don't remember much of it, so there was nothing to talk about. You know what I mean? I tell my parents
the other day is like, I don't think I drank any water all of college. Like I don't remember.
Are you kidding me?
Bottle that I drink out of.
Also, I'm very ashamed because I became the white girl that got a Stanley, but let me tell you how hydrated I am. And someone was like, you had another big bottle. And I'm like, but this has a straw. They're like, other things have a straw. And I'm like, I know, don't come at me. Okay. I became her. I don't know what to tell you, but I don't have multiple colors. It's just the black one. But anyway, but I saw this meme that was like, I never even like the drinking fountain was my Stanley. And then it was like, I never even drank. We didn't even know what water was in college. And I'm like, no, we would go to class still drunk, dehydrated as shit. Like I told my poor parents, I was like, guys, I'm so sorry. Like you paid for a college degree and I don't remember much of it. And then she became a real estate agent and started a podcast. So on that note, I'm not really sure what that says about me, but
I think it's great.
Fun doing it,
You're happy, you're healthy, you got a roof over your head, you're challenged every day.
Crushing it.
You're crushing. I mean, that's all you can do. Yeah.
Living at the beach, got a cute dog, no kids, not married, my poor parents, I know. But my brother took care of that. Like he has a real cute kid I'm obsessed with, a second one on the way. So like, he adulted for the both of us. So I appreciate that.
There you go. I love it. I love it.
I'm just the older one, just like chilling, it's great.
Yeah. I'm sure you look much younger than he does.
Okay. You want to hear something funny really quick? He listens to this every week, so he's going to hate this. We were in Italy for his wedding, and I met someone I hadn't met, and they're like, oh my God, is this your younger sister? And I was like,
and you're older? Yeah.
5 years. I'm 41. I'm 5 years older than him. Yeah. And he was like, she's my older sister. And I was, so at his rehearsal dinner, I was like, hi, everybody. I am Todd's older, younger looking sister.
Yeah, love that. Yeah. No, you gotta, I mean, it's like unlimited ammo for the rest of your life. Basically.
Forever. Like, yeah. And now he's like, this kid's giving me gray hair. And I'm like, she's cute as shit though. I'll tell you what, I've never been.
Look at this, see?
I mean, I dye mine. So like, you can't really tell, but he did my hairdresser, my hair colorist. He found a gray hair and I was like, pluck it. And he's like, 10 more come to its funeral. I was like, dye it. Like, do whatever you got to do,
Do something, please.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
exactly.
I hear it.
Dave, this was so much fun. Thank you so much for coming on.
You bet. Thanks for having me.
I know. And by the way, We were supposed to have a family vacation in Tahoe last summer. We had to cut it. So we're going to try. We have baby number 2 coming this summer, so I don't think that's going to happen. But I'm going to hit you up because we are going to need, hopefully next summer we can do it. We're going to need a place to stay. And then, I know that's really far off. Hopefully I'll see you before then, but
I hope so too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much for this.
Continue
Okay, guys.
to kill it.
Yes, thank you. Everyone, please do not forget to subscribe to YouTube. Dave, that's you. Follow us on Instagram at Behind the Lockbox. Leave us a kind review. And don't forget, you can follow and download the show on Apple and Spotify. All right, guys, thank you so much. We'll see you next week. Bye. Thanks for listening. Behind the Lockbox is produced and edited by Property Showcase Group. If you like this podcast, please share it with your friends. Don't forget to subscribe, rate, or review this podcast. Thanks for your support. See you next week.